Hello, friends. And I'm doing another episode, even though we were going to have an interview, but the band in question did not get back to me about the interview. However, I will be doing more interviews in the near future. But I figured I'd come out with a new episode anyways. So a lot has happened in the last month or two as far as musicians and producers too. So, like case in point, Dave Jordan just passed as well. So I thought I'd do this episode as kind of a tribute to at least two of those figures, because I know I did Ragni Wahlquist last episode for Heavy Loads frontman. So I wanted to talk about on this episode John Sykes. But first of all, I will do the news segment because it's been a long time since I've done that. So don't you love those stupid public domain news musical clips? Anyways, so let's go to the news today, and I'm going to be talking about this, and of course I go to Blabbermouth as my main source. So let's go to the headlines here. And of course, if you're new to this podcast, I don't know, it's just been a long time since I've been regularly doing this podcast. So if you're new to it, you should know that I'm very sarcastic and sardonic during these news segments. So it's kind of just a way to poke fun at a lot of stuff. So don't take it personally if I interview any bands that I have made fun of. More than likely I won't, though, because I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to I don't think there's a chance in hell I'm going to interview someone like Aaron Lewis or like, I don't know, like Fred Durst. Fred Durst I'd interview just because his movies are so weird and wacky. So, but I don't think I'd interview anything. I don't think I'm going to interview Andy Biersack anytime soon. I'll just say that. And I'm not trying to be a sourpuss about stuff, but I just, I have a certain niche or audience that I like, and that's kind of how I see it. So, anyways, let's get to the news. Sharon Osbourne. It's going to take a lot of physical energy for Ozzy to sing at Villa Park concert. Well, but you're wanting to make that money, aren't you? Aren't you, Sharon Osbourne? See, I saw the listing for this, the new Black Sabbath reunion, the final show, allegedly. And I saw it, and I was like, well, there's some cool bands in it, but it's like they're missing. They're not, there's no doom metal. They don't have like Candlemass or something, or Trouble, or Paradise Lost, or whoever. It's all these. It's kind of mainstream metal bands. I'm just gonna put that out there. Gojira is. I don't know if I call them mainstream, but they're relatively mainstream. And they're not bad bands. Metallica, Pantera, Slayer, Gojira. One of the surprises is Jake E. Lee is going to be there. I don't know what exactly is going to happen. So if anybody doesn't know, they're going to be doing this final concert with all these bands. There's no, I think Priest might be there, but no, maybe not. I'd have to take a look at the concert. So I want to do, let me look that up here. I'm going to look it up. So I'm going to look up, ticket prices. Yeah, right. I'm not even going to look at that. It's probably awful. Let's see. Probably like $5,000 or something. Oh, it's not too bad. Okay. Actually, this is kind of funny because it's $795. That's 795 pounds. You get this package and stuff. That's not too bad, That's a little bit better than I expected. I thought it was going to be like the Bruce Springsteen, like $5,000. Exclusive pre-show access to villas, hospitality suites, private reserved box for 12 guests, pre-show access, blah, 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 tea and coffee, blah, blah, blah. So it's not too bad. I mean, it could be worse. Gold package. Oh, there's even like a silver package. It's not as bad as you think, but it's like $500 basically. Or 300 to 500, I'd say. Like a general ticket, I'd say is probably 300. They say 445 for this special ticket for silver package, but two or 300. I don't know. I have heard worse. I'll just say that, even for especially for legacy bands. Of course, it's in Great Britain, and who else is playing here? I'm gonna look at the listing. Let's see. So it's sponsored by a bunch of stuff. Lamb of God, Billy Corgan, Duff McKagan and Slash, Frank Bello, Fred Durst, Jakey Lee, Jonathan Davis, KK Downing. That's why I was saying Priest. Lizzie Hale, Mike Borden, Rudy Sarzo, Sammy Hagar. I guess it's like a concert too. They must be doing different things to tribute Sabbath. Papa from Ghost, Tom Morello, Wolfgang Van Halen. You don't see any power metal or prog metal or black metal or whatever death metal people at this. It's all these normie mainstream bands. Now it does have so there's the sets will be Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Hailstorm. Not Ailstorm, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? The pirate metal band. Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon. So, yeah, whatever. I wouldn't probably even see it if it was around. I've seen Black Sabbath 3 times, don't get me wrong. So, already at Ozfest. So it's not like I hate, I've seen most of these bands actually live several times. So I'm not trying to bash anybody necessarily. I'm going to have to be more like Ricky Rackman in the classic days of Headbangers Ball, where he was just rolling his eyes and being passive aggressive, pretending he likes bands he's interviewing. I'm just going to have to do that. with me talking the news, but you can't see me roll my eyes when I do the news segments. But you could probably hear it in a way, I guess. Kill Switch Engage, Gene Simmons explains why rock music is no longer as fashionable as it once was. I don't care if rock music or metal music is out of style. Because if you lived through the 90s and you were listening to metal, you're a special type of person, because it was so uncool that, and I've talked about this on my podcast, on videos, it was so uncool. You were a special person if you liked metal in the 90s. You were the only person. Sometimes I was the only person. I mean, I had friends that were into metal, but we were the only people that we knew that were into metal. 3 or 4 people sometimes, 4 or 5, whatever. And we were buying these albums from Europe and, these imports and stuff and all these mail order companies and, It was a lonely existence, especially for me, because I worked downtown where I live, and nobody liked metal. Later on, in the 90s, you started to see people ironically wear metal shirts and stuff, and that's where I got one of my Maiden shirts actually. But anyways, King Parrot, I don't even know who that is. Battle Beast and Smackbound. Singers return with second collaborative album, Falling 2 Stars. I don't know who Smackbound. I know Battle Beast. I like Battle Beast. I actually like Beast in Black quite a bit. That's the original guitarist of Battle Beast, who did his own band later, and I really do like him a lot. Crematory, Dream Theater does. I actually do want to check out their new album. Machine Head, drum video. I'm just looking for something kind of interesting or scandalous. Forbidden. Nevermore is looking for a vocalist and bassist. I'm surprised that they're actually getting back together. Pantera, Carrie Kane, Armored Saint, David Byrne, Primus, Battle Beast, Nightwish, Megadeth, Doug Aldrich. Well, he has throat cancer, and he says he's 2 months completing radiation treatments. I'm going to talk about another Whitesnake guitarist in a bit, who is also actually, I'd say Doug Aldrich for the band Lion. Especially lately, I've been really listening to a lot of Lion. I really like that and Bad Moon Rising, his other band that he was in with the same singer at least. I'm a big fan, so that I'm paying attention to that. I hope he gets through it okay. Just, we never heard from John Sykes. I'll go through that in a bit, but Triumph's Rick Emmett was recently, I don't know why this is funny, hospitalized with food poisoning. What? Why would Blabbermouth talk about that? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's just weird. The sweet, quote unquote. I'll just say that. Enough said. Steve Zetro's Sueza on his latest departure from the Exodus. I did not leave. I was let go. That's unfortunate because I really like his vocals. I think Exodus and like Overkill should collaborate. Honestly, they have similar. Bobby Blitz should do. I don't know what I'm talking about, but Meshuggah, Deep Purple. I don't even. Oh, that must be their new guitarist that replaced Steve Morris. Def Leppard, Spirit Box, more Black Sabbath reunion. Bruce Dickinson rules out using backing tracks at Iron Maiden concerts. If it's not real, it's not Maiden. I just saw Maiden in October. It was definitely in the top 3 of the 7 or 8 times I've seen them. So I was actually quite surprised it was so good, honestly, because I didn't know if they were going to sound good or not. And I liked even a lot of the new stuff that I didn't really fall in love with. I loved it live, so I'll just say that. Gene Simmons praises Ace Frehley and Peter Criss's early musical contributions to Kiss. Okay, well, a little too late, isn't it? Art Cruz joining Lamb of God. I don't even know who that is, but anyways, I know who Lamb of God is. Lorraine Lewis is, okay. Got some controversy now. Lorraine Lewis defends her decision to join OnlyFans. I think it's a cool platform. I'm going to say right out, I am against this recent trend of people attacking, not only women, but just people in general for wanting to do these things. There's nothing wrong. What is wrong? It's your body. It's your choice. What is wrong with wanting to do stuff like this? It's people just have this puritanical, I'm going to say moral, conservative, social conservative view. I'm not a fan of that stuff. I'm not a fan, I think as long as people are wanting to do it, they can do it. I've known girls that have done, actually I sort of knew this girl that later did some stuff like that. I don't think that I don't understand the stigma attached to that, honestly. Now, there's all sorts of things you could say about like dating someone that's into that, or, I'm sick of hearing this stuff. Like every time a person does something like that, you have to like psychoanalyze the person doing it. Like, oh my God, she must have this issue, or this must have happened to her. And it's like, I don't even know. Who's Lorraine Lewis anyways? I don't even know. I'm sorry. I'm a little out of it. Let's see who it is. Femme Fatale, former Vixen. Oh, even more, even more. Like, I think it's fine. Why would someone hate that? Why would someone hate on that? And there are people that hate on that. They're either very insecure about their own sexuality or their own views of their own, they're repressed, or, or they're just jealous, or they're insecure, like they think, oh my God, I've seen all sorts of thoughts on that kind of stuff. So whether it be porn or, OnlyFans or whatever. Yeah, and this is controversial. This is a hot take. I understand this. People may disagree with me, and you're free to do that. But would I date someone? What if your own daughter becomes a member of OnlyFans? I'd say, well, just, be safe about it and be happy. I'm not going to look at it, but I'm just saying, like do what you want to do. Freedom of choice. So anyways, end rant. And finally, something controversial comes up. Anyways, I don't know if it's, I didn't read the comments, so I don't know. Nico McBrain opens up about decision to retire from touring with Iron Maiden. I wish I could still play with these guys. That's pretty sad. I saw that show. He was struggling a bit. Surprisingly good, though, for the most part. Considering his stroke and considering what I heard early in 2023. But yeah, it's a sad moment when he left. But he'll live on and everything. And the new guy is incredible, by the way. I've heard 4 or 5 of his bands. He's done prog. He's done groove metal stuff, extreme groove metal stuff. So he knows what he's doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they dug out some real arcane songs from the past, like some Be Quicker, Be Dead, or some crazy stuff. This next tour, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just say that. I'm not saying that Nico couldn't do it. Well, he just had a hard time. There were certain songs they probably did not do because of the struggling. So Rivers of Nile, I don't even know I've heard of that band. I've never heard of them. Arch Enemy. Let's see. Udo. Another ballad with Udo and Doro. They seem to do that a lot. Lamb of God, Billy Gibbons. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. I have a story about that, but maybe I'll save it for another time about Billy Gibbons. About ZZ Top, a certain family member of mine. Anyways, LA Guns. Okay. Benediction. I haven't heard of them for a while. Benediction. That had Mark Barney Greenway of Napalm Death. Ozzy Osbourne can't walk anymore, but his voice is as good as it's ever been. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna speculate. People who know me know what I think about modern day Ozzy and what he's done. I've seen Ozzy. I struggle with Ozzy because it's a hard subject because of this next headline. Bob Daisley is fine with not being invited to Ozzy Osbourne's final concert. I don't think I'd want to be a part of that day. Well, Bob Daisley is responsible for probably about 30 to 50%, or 30 to 40%, maybe a little less than that, but of Ozzy's success. He wrote all the lyrics, or nearly all the lyrics. He wrote a lot, he co-wrote all the songs on the first 4 albums or something, or 5 albums. So whatever you say about Bob Daisley and his lawsuit and stuff, he had a lot to do with Ozzy. And the fact that he's not being invited is it's pathetic. So if I sound bitter at Ozzy, it's just, there's been so many things that he's done. I'm glad he made up with Jakey Lee enough for him to be at this final show, but still. X-Typo Negative, the guitarist is open to staging hypothetical Peter Steele's tribute concert. That'd be pretty cool. Jethro Tull. I'm just laughing because Jethro Tull, and Metallica, the whole 1989 controversy. But anyways, you could read about that somewhere else. Anthrax's Joey Belladonna, Butcher Babies, Oranathi, Living Color, which I do like Living Color. Styx, Loverboy, Cheap Trick, 38 Special, Collective Soul. Oh, they're mixing all these eras. So you have 70s, you have 80s, and then you have 90s. Pop Evil, Black Sabbath. Who else? I'm going to get through these pretty quickly, I think. What else do we have? We have a couple more. Just like to go through all these headlines. Master Reality, I haven't heard of them for a while. That's interesting. They'll be doing a new album, I guess. Aerosmith, bassist, has a new band. Baroness. I'm actually trying to check them out. Finally. Jeff Tate isn't worried about people's expectations for Operation Mindcrime 3. Honestly, I don't care. Yes, you do. I don't think it's going to be good. Honestly, I'm just being completely honest. I'm not really happy with his musical direction the past 25, 30 years or so, obviously. So as first of all, I'm just going to be a little bit. This is a little bit of a hot take, just to warn people. So there's been some good stuff here and there, but don't get me wrong. But he's kind of like gone grunge, and then he went kind of like modern pop rock, and then he kind of with Queensryche and stuff, and then he kind of went more like grunge, new metal hybrid with the Jeff Tate's Queensryche album or whatever it was, and Operation Mindcrime 2. It was like this hodgepodge of these different styles that were like did not go together, in my opinion. And who knows? Maybe he's into what the kids are now, like Gent or not Gent. No, he's like discovered metalcore and dubstep now. You know, the kids are into that like 20 years ago. Of course, he's always like 20 years behind. Just imagine like doing grunge metal in like 2006, and then doing like metalcore / dubstep in 2025 on the new Mindcrime 3 album. I'm being a jerk, but it's just so annoying. You know, Tobias Sammet and, you know, him working with him, he should work on that with him and that group of people that does Avantasia and do the Mindcrime 3 with those guys, and maybe even bring DeGarmo in on a session, you know. But he's not going to do that. Of course, we know that. But that would be good for his career. I'm just saying. Ex-Scorpions drummer Herman Rarebell covers 80s classics. Why? He's already been in 80s classics. Why would he want to do an album of that? Straight from the Path, I have no idea what that is. Zakk Wylde, Ghost, because he has a new look or something. Black Sabbath, Max Cavalera and re-recordings of early Sepultura albums. We had a chance to redo something we weren't totally happy with. No, I'm mixed on it because I hate when bands do that, but they actually are pretty good. Those new Sepultura recordings, I actually do kind of like them. But they are kind of more like if like Chaos AD era Sepultura re-recorded the early albums. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but like it's still like kind of modern in this like way that's a little bit, I'm not going to say dated, but like kind of, I don't know. It's not as bad as if it's Roots era Sepultura or early Soulfly new metal covering it, like, you know, doing like rapping over, you know, schizophrenia or you know, whatever. Having Fred Durst like guest in like one of the black metal songs off the first album, you know. Anyway, Judas Priest, Rob Halford, he used to have really bad depression. Well, that sucks. Marty Friedman wouldn't really rule out joining another band. Destruction, John Oliva, Sabotage album. I'll listen to that, of course. Within Temptation, I've never even heard them. Bush's Gavin Rossdale has no idea how young bands get paid. I can't work it out. I don't know. Angel, I don't care. Bush, Gavin Rossdale. Oh my God. Angel 50th anniversary reissue of debut album to coincide with band's 2025 tour. Oh, cool. Okay. Hawkwind has a new album. I'll go see them, actually. I want to see Hawkwind again. I saw them many years ago. Is rock truly dead? Why are people asking this? Who cares? Anyways, who cares if rock is dead? Why do you care? You know? I mean, what do you want to do? What are you doing? Well, the better question is, if rock is dead, what are you doing about it? Are you playing the same old 5 songs by the classic rock band on the radio, or are you playing new bands? Or a mixture of both, you know? Are you going to shows? Are you promoting bands? You know, trying to, as much as I kind of have some opinions about like, I don't believe in forcing your kid to play an instrument or something, but like for kids interested in guitar, are you buying them a guitar? You know, if you want rock not to die, you have to support it. What are you doing about it? You know, The Sword announces more comeback shows. Wow, I remember when The Sword was a new band. I feel old now seeing that. Comeback shows. What the hell? Anyways, Clutch, King Diamond, the tour. Clutch, they're not too bad. Not related to King Diamond. I was just kind of going through these. Okay, I'm going to probably cut it off at 3 more. King Diamond is working on 10 new songs from upcoming album that'll come out probably in the 22nd century. No, I'm just kidding. No, I know he's been criticized for delaying this album, but the coup happened and a lot of stuff is happening. So I'm looking forward to it, of course, being a huge King Diamond fan, a Merciful Fate fan especially. Watch Alex Van Halen, Joey Satriani, Joey DeMaio, Joey Satriani, Andrew Farrow, tons of metal, Slipknot, James LaBrie, Disturbed. I think I skipped one. I'm just going through all these. Ace Frehley. He's coming here, actually. Rob Halford, Gojira, Dave Ellefson, Lamb of God, Bumblefoot, Lacuna Coil. It seems like they're repeating themselves on Blabbermouth. Was Lloyd Grant an original member of Metallica? Yeah, kind of. I'm just answering for him. Anyways, I think I'm going to cut it off there, and we're just going to talk about John Sykes for a little bit. So this will probably be a shorter episode as a result of that, but that's fine. So I will tell the story about John Sykes and me. I never met him, but I'm just saying. In around 2005, 2006, I was in a band with a guy that had told me about Whitesnake's John Sykes because I had a Mesa Mark III amp that I bought because Mesas were the in thing. And I still like them, actually. I have a dual rectifier and a Mesa Studio preamp. I may actually trade my dual rectifier for a Mark IV at some point or something. I don't know. Depending on what happens. I do like it, but, So he was like, oh, John Sykes, he had incredible tone, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I read about him on this dinosaur rock guitar. So I'd heard Is This Love and Still the Night, and I was like, hair metal, it's just like, I really liked the ironies. I really liked Burn, David Coverdale irony. I really liked Burn by Deep Purple. So I wasn't really like closed-minded to it. I just wasn't like, so you ever get like this? There's this period of time where you're exploring different types of music, and you're not ignoring other types of music. You're just kind of focused on something else, and you don't notice other things. So that's kind of how it was with Whitesnake. So in about 2010, late 2010, I'll just tell you the story. I was curious about a lot more hair metal and stuff. I was just trying to discover different guitarists and stuff because I was getting back into like Dokken because I was into them before that, and I was also into Rat a little bit too at the time. I was like, oh, they're not bad, Motley Crue. So I was like, I finally listened to Whitesnake's 1987 album, and I was like, why did I not listen to this all this time before? I got obsessed with it. So what happened was I just got really into John Sykes, and it was like Paul Gilbert is one of my favorites too. So I play like a lot of those fast runs. I try to at least like Paul Gilbert, but I also think they sound like John Sykes now too because I got into his vibrato and his songwriting and just everything about him, the squeals, So I got really into Whitesnake in general too, and I got a lot of their old albums too before John Sykes joined, and I got some of the Blue Murder and John Sykes solo albums and stuff. So I really got into him, and I also found out that he did this. He did some like work on some animes that I like too, which is kind of funny. So, because like he did a theme song, Cautionary Warning. So for he'd done this cautionary warning for this anime that I like called Black Heaven, and I'd watched it, like I'd rented it when you could rent movies back in the day, and I didn't know it was him, but I found out that, oh wow, that was him, because it's about it. A lot of the anime is oriented around like the Michael Schenker lore too, so it's kind of interesting to think about that. So because I was already a huge fan by this time, so I just got obsessed with it, and I just got really into the attitude and stuff of the guitar playing. So I bought a Mesa. I had sold my Mesa Mark III the earlier that year, 2010. It was like late 2010 or 2011. And finally, in 2012, I got a Mesa Studio preamp and a 5050 power amp Mesa. Primarily because, I was still into that idea of having like the Mesa tone and stuff, and like the Mark III. I felt bad about selling it, so I had that at least because it's closer to a Mark II C Plus than probably most preamps you can get, which is closer to the Mark III. But of course, that was out of my price range. But I had bought this, and I bought a guitar, which is like it was a Les Paul clone by this company called Agile, which probably made at the time, at least, I don't know about now, but they made guitars at least equitable to Epiphone, if not a little better, because the better. I mean, the Gibson had the chambered bodies and stuff, and this is a thick, solid body. And maybe some of the hardware wasn't great. It's made in South Korea, so it's pretty good. So I had bought that, and I got the Dirty Fingers pickup, which was John Sykes' choice of pickup. That's why I got it. So I started playing that. So I was really getting into that. I did a cover of Crying in the Rain, one with my vocals, one with my session vocalist's vocals too. And I was just super into the whole thing. I would play that song especially. And John Sykes didn't write that song, but he basically rewrote it for the 1987 Whitesnake, because they played it live in '84 after he first joined, and he did an extended guitar solo, and a lot of that solo went into the new version, and some of those parts did. So I was super into that, and I had gotten just really into it, and it influenced me on other stuff too. So I was listening to it all the time. And I had some, kind of went through some times with the 1987 album. I didn't hear it when I was a kid or when I was younger. Just some relationship stuff, and just like I listened to it all the time. I related to it. I just loved it. So I haven't really listened to a lot of John Sykes as of late, but like I was waiting for that new album. And he came out with some sort of video singles on YouTube in early 2021. And I was like, wow, this sounds probably the best thing I've heard since his like Blue Murder early solo days. It was really good. But we didn't hear anything. It was almost like Chinese Democracy with Guns N' Roses. And it just was like, what's happening with John Sykes? When is he going to release this album? And then we hear there's a lot of stuff from Eddie Trunk where he talks about what happened with John Sykes. I'd recommend looking it up. He basically just got really disturbed by what happened with him and David Coverdale and Whitesnake and stuff in the music industry. And he just had like shell shock, basically PTSD almost, like just, probably had some, I'm not going to say mental illness, but, just some issues with all that stuff. So when he died of cancer, it was a shock. It was a huge shock to me because I was looking forward to that new album. I was like, eventually it'll get released and I'll tour and I'll get to see him and stuff, but I'm not going to get to see him. So, but yeah, he's had a huge impact on my life. My band Rock Invasion, which is the cover band I'm in, we play a cover Cold Sweat, and I get the solo. We have two guitars. I get that solo though. And it was just because I was so into John Sykes. I had to learn some type of thing that he did, so we play that. And I was playing the last show that we played, or the most recent show we played, which was like 4 or 5 days before he died. I was messing around with Still of the Night on stage. So it's really funny. Not funny, but, it's sad, but ironic that I was actually playing more stuff from him at our last show, just kind of off the cuff. So rest in peace, or rest in power. It's so cliched now. John Sykes, I was very influenced by your guitar playing. If you're out there in the Etheria somewhere, I was very influenced. So I'm probably going to play my Les Paul clone at our next show, too. I'm thinking just in tribute. Because last show I wore a Heavy Load shirt. So this time I'll be a tribute to John Sykes. And maybe a Whitesnake shirt, too, because I do have a Whitesnake shirt. It's pretty cool. I think it's like Slide In an Era. So, or maybe it's a Trouble. I'd have to take a look at it. I used to have another Whitesnake show, but it was shirt, but it was kind of crappy because it just got all faded and like all the writing came off. It was a cheaper one, but this one's still good because it's not a cheap shirt. I hate when that happens when you order a shirt and you're like, oh, this one's a bad one. You know, it happens once in a while. It's kind of annoying. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I thought of John Sykes. I just thought it's like. Just has so much, the tone has so much balls and he has so much groove and just like attitude. Like I just like guitars. I like guitar players that like kind of, there's just like they're ripping the guitar wide open. They're just slaughtering the guitar, and that's kind of how he sounds. But then again, he can slow it down too and play really soulfully and beautifully. Like recommend listening to Looking for Love from Whitesnake for an example of that. You know, I read David Coverdale once said, John Sykes doesn't play blues. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? The Jelly Roll off Blue Murder. He always liked blues. I don't think, like, there's a lot of acrimony. There's been so much acrimony between those two. I guess at the end, Coverdale did want to make up, but Sykes didn't. It's really a sad situation. So, but anyways, Doug Aldrich is also a great guitarist. It's very different. It's similar but different. I think Aldrich is almost more like on the George Lynch like side of things in a certain way, but like kind of almost, I mean, I'd almost say he's like almost in between the two. I love that, and Lynch is one of my favorites too, but John Sykes like has a special place in my heart because it's just like that time period that I was living my life. I was listening to a lot of his guitar and just learning some of his licks and stuff, and it just had a great impact on me. So that's pretty much what I have to say. Pretty much this episode, I'm going to get some more guests and everything, probably the next episode, and do a lot more stuff with this podcast because it has been way too long. So that's about all.
Biggest fucking just like, so basically telling me you're a goddamn poser. What do you mean you're useless? Used to means you got out of it. It means you got out of it because you weren't truly in it. Because again, dude, I don't want to hear any of this bullshit. I liked it as a kid and I don't now. Put it to you this way: when you were 16 years old, did you like pussy? Were you thinking about fucking? Now that you're 45 years old, you got a hot piece of ass in front of you. You're gonna be like, used to like that, not into that no more. No, because you were truly into it. So you're still in it. You hit it, hit it, hit it. What do you mean you used to be into it? You were never truly in it. Dude, if you used to like Deicide in 1992 or whatever the fuck it was, and you don't now, poser. Fucking poser. Because again, you don't stop liking pizza. You don't stop liking pussy. You don't stop jerking off. What are you talking about? Well, used to. Used to? No, you've always been a fucking goddamn poser. That's what it is. I mean, you literally, when you come up and tell me that, that is fucking, you just translated that. I'm a fucking poser. Punch me right in the face, dog. You may as well just say that because that's exactly what you're fucking telling me, just in code terms. Biggest fucking just like, so basically telling me you're a goddamn poser. What do you mean you used to listen? Used to means you got out of it. It means you got out of it because you weren't truly in it. Because again, dude, I don't want to hear any of this bullshit. I liked it as a kid and I don't now. Put it to you this way: when you were 16 years old, did you like pussy? Were you thinking about fucking? Now that you're 45 years old, you got a hot piece of ass in front of you. You're gonna be like,
Ew, you know that shit sound hot.
no, because you're a true